Well, you are saying he made a U-turn. You're not saying it's a flip-flop. But if it was me who had said that, because I'm not your favorite, you would have called me names. And the good thing, Mbeki said that not so long ago, that he will not campaign for the ANC. And today says he's going to campaign for the ANC. What has changed in policy, in form and content in the ANC? The ANC is in a much more worse situation than when he said he will not campaign for that kind of the ANC. So it was not a principled stance, it was a factional position. What Zuma is doing is not for the first time it's being done. President Mbeki was right behind COPE, and he's not going to characterize Zuma's support for MK as counter-revolution and as if his support to COPE was revolutionary. Mbalula himself called Mbeki Dalai Lama of COPE, if you remember. And everybody who worked with Mbeki, from Phumzile to Smarts Ngonyama to Mbazima Shilowa, and all kinds, went to join COPE. They were not going to do that without President Mbeki's blessings. And when these people went to join COPE, what did President Mbeki do in defense of the ANC? He silently kept quiet, kept a corner because he knew what he was doing. So we have a problem of these elders in the ANC who retire and still don't want to retire. So that's a big problem. President Mbeki should have found himself a farm in Gushwa and go and stay there, and then only travel the continent and the world as a special envoy or as someone who's going to give a lecture in some of the big universities like he was doing at UNISA. But to stay in Kilani and then wake up every morning to see the headlines, there is no way there won't be a temptation to want to comment on current affairs. President Mbeki is inviting himself back into the political battlefield, and that's where we are. We're going to have to respond to him. And we'll respond to him in a manner that is befitting of a player. Because he has refused now to become an elder. Because President Mbeki, as a statesman, as an elder, though coming from the ANC, he shouldn't be interfering with day-to-day politics of South Africa in an attempt to lead from the grave. So that we don't agree with, but we are ready for him. Let him campaign for the ANC, we will campaign for the EFF, and we'll meet on the streets. Are unmatched. There is only EFF that got suspended in that parliament, that got kicked out of that parliament because it does its work. And I'm the only president who get beaten by civilians, called the bouncers of parliament, because I do my work. So no one can tell me that I'm not doing work. To be suspended in parliament of the corrupt is actually an honor. We wait with pride because we will not be intimidated into silence by the corrupt and the leadership that is refusing to be held accountable because we want to get salaries. They can take their salaries, they can suspend us, and as much as they want, we'll never move from the truth. The court said, when we entered parliament, if you remember, as a person who writes for Mail and Guardian, you have to make a point of reference. Go to the parliament files, we said the ANC is a murderous organization, it kills people, and then they suspended us for that. We went to court. Court reversed it, said, in parliament you've got the right to say what they say. It was well within the right of members of parliament to say the president is a money launderer, because it's exactly that. And why is he a money launderer? Monies were found in foreign currency under mattresses. And if there is no practical definition of money laundering other than that, then I don't know what else is there. We will not allow the ANC to suppress the freedom of expression for members of parliament and to tell the truth. And what is exciting about this election is that the ANC won't have majority to continue doing the nonsense they are doing, of using majority to prevent accountability.
Now you recently...
The Nigerians honor each other when they're still alive, and that their levels of cooperation is something unmatched. I mean, you find all former presidents and current and all of that under one roof, despite the fact that the political differences, their levels of tolerance for each other was something else. But I also attended the night of prayers for our brother Herbert, who was a founder and was a CEO of Access Bank. I was going to pay my respect to him, and I was so happy that I found a lot of rich Africans in attendance coming to honor one of their own. And that kind of respect shown to Herbert was so humbling, and the kind of commitment they made to his children, and for the colleagues to say they will keep his dream alive. It was so exciting to hear that. And we were well received by the people of Nigeria, and we felt at home. And I ate jollof.
As the EFF's list.
Whether the EFF wants to issue its list or not, the list bylaw is going to be issued by the IEC. So when people are trying to be relevant through things that are unnecessary, it's really not necessary for us. The list is with the IEC, and we did our own internal process to verify the credentials, criminal records of all the individuals there. And then when we satisfied ourselves, we then send it to the IEC. The IEC is then going through it. Once it's ready, they're going to publish it. For having volunteers to come and serve the people's movement, what you have done goes beyond a call of duty for individual membership. You are not just members, but you are volunteers who have dedicated their time to come and ensure that the operation center of the organization is functional, and we capture as much data as possible. We are just starting. There will be glitches there and there, and we are all learning the system as we go. We hope that we have sufficient time to can amass the necessary experience within a short space of time, because what you are dealing with now is the membership of the EFF. From the membership of the EFF, you're going to deal with voters, and that data is going to come from the lower structures of the EFF. You're going to have to populate it, reduce it to the sub-regions and to their relevant wards, so that your report can generate the necessary information from VT level, ward level, province, and we all know that it will be a reflection of how South Africa looks like. So we expect your maximum discipline. You know, people when they volunteer, they sometimes have a tendency of saying, they don't mean pay me anything, I can do as I wish. It's a voluntary thing. You don't bring ill manners, you don't volunteer ill mannerism. You volunteer only the good side, and you give your good side and give it your all, because the victory of the EFF will be a victory that was made possible by your good selves, and your names will go in history as people who brought about practical changes in South Africa. This, as we said, is our 1994. and you are the volunteers of 1994 of a new generation which wants to see the real change happen. We have had a discussion with the SG and we have agreed that we must make this place as conducive as possible for all of you. You shouldn't go through a hassle, there shouldn't be difficulty. Yours must be to be seized with capturing and calling of people and nothing else. The rest of other logistical issues and how people get compensated and all of that should remain the forte of the SG. He must be the one who's got the headache of those kind of things. So please, let's ensure that we just stick to our computers, we stick to our task, and we don't create unnecessary groupings and